Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I think it's time to do a project update video, also to celebrate 3,400 subscribers, or just about. A big thanks to all of you, and a big thanks to the Danish podcast series called Bilklubben, because they mentioned my channel a couple of times in their podcast, and that has resulted in quite a lot of new subscribers from Denmark. So hi to you. If you are Danish, I would really suggest to go check out Bilklubben. I will leave a link to their YouTube channel in my description, and you can find the podcast on Spotify and all that. Anyway, I think it's time to take a look at all this stuff. We'll start with all the mopeds and then take a look at the cars. And I think it could be fun to see if all the cars actually are able to start. That would be fun. So yeah, let's start out. Here we have all the mopeds on the floor, but before we take a look at them, I would just like to show you this. I'm going to fit these to my cars, and if some of you would like to have one, then please contact me. I'm going to send a couple of these to all my Patreons, and yeah, if you want them, of course. And if you get them and put them on your car, it would be really cool if you sent me a picture of that, because that would make me very proud. So yeah. First in line is the Fix moped, the Danish very rare moped with the Sundab engine. I have not been working on this at all since the last video quite a while back, but now the spring is here and summer is arriving soon as well. So I'm gonna start working on it so I can get it out, so I can get it running. It is able to start now, but of course all the cables are not fitted yet, so it's not able to really run. So that is going to be a fun little thing to get going. Next up is the Diesella project. In the previous video I started the engine up. Since that I have actually fitted all the cables and the decompression valve and the throttle thingy. I have yet to fit anything to operate the drum brake on the front, but the rear brake is working fine. So next up for this is a test drive. Well, that's pretty cool. I am missing the lid for the fuel tank, so I found something with that fitted. This is a plastic cap for sandblasting sand. That fitted perfectly, but it's not looking very good, but it's better than nothing. And then there's the Rex. I just pulled the Rex out of the basement, and it's just such a cool moped. I actually kind of forgot how cool it was. I really need to start using this moped. It's actually running pretty well, but it tends to suddenly cut out and then being impossible to start, sometimes for weeks, and I really cannot figure out what's going on. I think it's the carb that is unstable, but I'm gonna have to try to do something to fix the suspension on the front, because that keeps on collapsing. I can still run it when it collapses, but there will be no suspension on it. So that would be cool to fix. Then we have the Velo solexes, the two of them. The green one got a performance cylinder attached and a adjustable nozzle on the carb. The orange is completely bone stock. The orange turns out to be the fastest, so that's a bit annoying. But just like a lot of French stuff, the engines is very, there's a lot of personality to these engines, and some are just better than others. They are riding very nice. The next project I'm going to do on these, and that's the green one, is I'm going to remove that adjustable nozzle, because even though it's pretty cool, it makes the drivability quite bad because it's difficult, and also the quality is not the best. It tends to shake loose when riding on long trips. So what I'm going to do is to try to find a nozzle, or actually make a nozzle myself, or jet it's called, I think. Make a jet myself by enlarging the hole until it runs nice, and then maybe just order the right set or size for it to make it easier to ride. Of course I can get more power out of an adjustable one, because I can adjust it as the speed goes up, but that doesn't really matter much. At the moment in my moped gang, the Velo solex tends to be the fastest, so that's a bit Actually, I think that says more about the other mopeds than the Velos, because a Velo is never a fast moped. But anyway, that's just the way it is. The last moped is Black Betty, a moped that I have owned for 10 years now, which is kind of impressive because I have nothing with an engine that I have owned for more than 2 years, I think. I always change them out, but this one just tends to stick and I really like it. This one got the big performance pack, big cylinder, big carb, big exhaust, and the adjustable nozzle as well. This is at the moment capable of a speed of at around 40 kilometers per hour. So that's nice. So this was all the mopeds. Let's go and check out all the cars. The first car is the Austin Metro. We are not going to take a look at that on video, but I'm going to put up a couple of pictures of some work that I actually done to it. The rust work is coming along slowly, but well. And when all that is done, then I need to do some work on the suspension. It's completely low. That is some hydro gas system that I don't know much about, and I need a pump apparently. So I need to do some research when I get to that. Also, I'm having issues with the tire size because the Metro got a special tire size that is no longer available. I thought that I could just fit mini tires. That is just not going to be very easy because there's something with the hub that is different. And so I'm struggling a bit with that. But the Metro is coming along slowly but steadily. Then there is the Trabant. I think this is going to be the next project that I'm gonna focus on actually. Just the other day, all the parts arrived that I have ordered at least. They are just over here. We got oil for the transmission. We got a lot of rubber seals for windows and doors and all that. Some brake parts, some ignition parts, some rubber gaiters, some bulbs for the headlights. Remember, this is a 6-volt system, so I cannot just go buy them because that's not parts that you can pick off the shelves in Denmark at least. And then right there is a complete carpet set for the car, and that is going to be really nice to fit. Let's see if we can start it. I'm pretty sure we can't, because each and every time that I tried, I had to put something in directly into the carb to start it. But let's try for fun. I think there is something up with the carb, or maybe the fuel pump, or not pump, the valve is slightly clogged or something like that. So it's not really putting fuel in before the system starts to suck. While saying that, I'm pretty sure that the carb is the problem, because it shouldn't. The sucking shouldn't affect the valve actually, because there's a needle valve. But anyway, let's try to see. Firstly, let's open up. Whoop. The foot operated prop. And then let's put the power on. 6-volt battery power. Yes. No, I have no plans of converting it into a 12-volt. I can't see the reason for that. First, we're going to open up the fuel valve. And as I told you, this car normally does not start without getting something injected directly into the inlet. But let's see if it does. Just gonna pump the pedal a couple of times. Whoa! Impressive and surprising. Well, I think because of the fact that the Trabant is standing inside in a dry environment and in a heated environment, I think that's the reason why it started that easily. I'm still going to rebuild the carb, of course, because I want this car to be reliable as good as possible, at least. And I will start working on this very soon, because I hope to get this car on the road and MOT'd within a couple of months, because this would be a fun car to go to car shows and stuff with. So yeah, impressive. So inside the A112 Abarth, I made a small video about some servicing on this car a couple of weeks back, and it's running great still. It still have that metallic sound. A lot of you commented that it could be ignition related, that maybe the car was pre-detonating a little bit. I have tried altering the ignition timing in different direction. It made no difference, so I'm pretty sure that's not the issue. I'm still pretty sure, or my theory at least, is that it's either the valve train, something in the valve train, the rockers, the push rods, maybe even just the valve. That's the problem. Or maybe it's the timing chain. Some of you commented that as well, and I have been wondering about that because I did not change the timing chain when I restored or rebuilt the engine. It seemed pretty tight, but it's a common issue on these that they get a little bit slacky and then starts to make some noise. But most people that I have showed this car to and showed the engine sound to don't think that's the sound of a timing chain, but they could be wrong. So I don't know, maybe I should just try to change that chain, but I don't know. It's still running great. I would just so much like to get that sound under control because it's annoying me. But let's try to start it. I love this little car, it's so much fun. Woo! Let's take a look at the next car. So inside my office at the moment, the Renault Clio Grand Prix 1.8, 16 valve, 135 or 37 or something like that horsepowers. I love this car. Yes, it's very modern considering all my other cars, but it's a nice daily driver, and it's not modern. It's from 1996. It's an old car, but it's really a nice driver. It reminds me a lot about the Renault 5 GT Turbo that I built last year, and it's just a pleasant car to drive. It's fast, and there's not a lot of stuff wrong with it either, but there is stuff that is annoying me. I'm still having a bit of an issue with the gearbox. Not the gearbox, I think it's the selector arm actually. In the previous video, I changed a dog leg or a suspension or an engine mount actually that made the gearbox or the gear stick rock about a lot. That has helped a lot, but it's not completely gone. I'm having issue that with the second gear that if I'm not holding the gear in place when I release the clutch, it can kick out, and I would like to fix that because that's annoying. Other than that, it's driving perfectly. Other issue I had with this car is a very noisy lifters. I tried to flush the engine with some engine oil cleaner and change the oil to a better quality. It's still making that noise, especially when the engine is very cold. At the moment, we have had a lot of nights with -5 degrees or something like that. And in that period, it made a lot of sound, but the days where the temperature is higher, the sound is almost gone. So that's good. I think it will disappear over time actually. The not so good part is that it seems to be using quite a lot of oil. I just filled half a liter on it the other day, and I only drove around 1,000 kilometers since the oil change, maybe only 500 actually. So it seems to be eating some oil. Maybe that could get better, but I can't really see how, so we'll see about that. As far as I know, Renault back then actually stated that 1 liter per 1,000 kilometers was acceptable. But yeah, we'll see. Let's try it out. Yeah, I don't know if it picked up on the microphone. Oh, there's the radio. I don't know if it picked up, but it did make a tak-tak sound that went away very quickly. So that's nice. Also, I painted the rear wheel arches again, actually the complete side panels. And this time I think it turned out really good. I'm really surprised about the result, and I'm really happy about it. Of course you can see some faults and some errors, but I'm really pleased about it. I have to say that. Next time I do it, I will have to do a better job of covering up everything else in the garage, because I knew about overspray, but I did not know how massive overspray can be. It's everywhere, on everything. There's a bit of lacquer and all that. Of course, I did not have any other cars or mopeds in the garage where I painted it, but all the tables and all the tools and all that got some of that. So next time I'm gonna cover stuff up a bit more, but I'm happy about the result. Let's take a look at the next car. So let's jump inside the smelly Lada Niva, like that. Of course, there's a lot of really bad stuff going on in the world at the moment, involving Russians. Of course, all my sympathy and support is with the Ukrainians, but I'm not going to hold a Russian car from the 70s, or the Russian people, for that sake, responsible of all that. I have bought all the spare parts for this car. I made the order before everything went to shit, but I have bought all the parts from a Danish supplier, and I'm not going to buy any parts from Russia at the current state of the world, that's for sure. But let's see if the Niva still starts. It did that the last time. Let's pull out the choke. It's right there. Whoop. Push the clutch down for the time being to make sure that it's in neutral. And then let's turn the key. I'm gonna pump the accelerator a couple of times. And then let's see. Oh, it was a big car. And then let's see. Like that, straight into idle. This engine is really running nice. Of course, it's still showing absolutely no oil pressure, but I don't believe that because the oil pressure lamp is cutting out. So, but I'm gonna check that soon. And it sounds so meaty. This is such a cool car. And remember, this car is from 1978, so it is so old. Let's take a look at the last car in line. It's standing right there, if you can see it. It's a Citroen C25 4x4. Forgot to hit record, so you're only going to be able to see the first start for a long time on this car from the outside on the other camera. But as you can see, it started. It is very, very smoky. This is, I think, down to the fact that I have changed one glow plug on this car, then I got bored and began to work on something else. So I should really change the last three, because at the moment you can hear that it fires up on only one, and then the other ones kicks in slowly, but it's very smoky and all that. I need to fix that, but it runs. It drives actually as well. The new clutch is working. There's absolutely no braking system on this car at the moment, so it's a bit difficult to move about. I need to do something about that, but it's a big job. And because the weather has been so cold, I haven't been working on this car at all. But now that the weather turns better, I think it's time to slowly begin to work on this car. I'm still struggling with that broken thread on the crankshaft. I think I got some plans for that, but yeah. That's the C25, and I think this is all for the project update video. Now I think I'm gonna go into the garage and start working on the Trabant. That would be fun. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all the support and all the subscribers. That makes me very proud. If you want one of those stickers that I made, then please contact me. If you are a Patreon, I will just contact you and ask if you want them. Check out Bilklubben if you're Danish, and then see you in the next one.